And with that, we'll move along to our other item. Oh, I'm sorry, Supervisor Smith has a comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To Ms. Landis's comments about the Marin plan, I find that interesting and timely because I just recently received an email from a planner that was directing me to take a look at the Marin plan. I haven't had a chance to do that, and for the amount of money that this county has spent in this planning process over the last number of years, I don't know that it's been money that's been spent smartly. And the point of the email that I received is that the county could do quite a bit by just cutting and pasting in from the Marin County plan. And it does address those issues of who and when and how. And that's the major criticism I've heard of the plan, is that it isn't a document that leads the reader through those concrete objectives and those a concrete planning process that you can connect the dots between what's enforceable, what's expected, who is going to do what, and when are they going to do it. And I think that that's key in a document of this magnitude, that we get to that place. And I hope that when we continue the review process into next year, that we do get there. And if the Marin document has a lot to offer, I think we ought to take a look at it with respect to the sustainability, the green building standards, construction demolition issues. There are a number of things that obviously they've spent quite a bit of money working on their plan, and I don't know that we've gone about this the right way in the sense of trying to reinvent and reconstruct this document when there probably are superior ones out there that we could adopt. Thank you.
Moving right along to item 11A. This was timed for 10:30 a.m. Is public hearing on the RDA and adoption of a resolution for 5-year implementation plan. To the CEO's office, sir.
Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit today, just give some history on the redevelopment area before we get into the plan itself. The Mendocino County Redevelopment Agency was adopted in 2003. It has one project area that's been broken into 3 project sub-areas, which are Calpella, North Ukiah, and South Ukiah, sort of moving southward. Those 3 sub-areas cover approximately 772 acres. Accomplishments to date have been increasing in scope from initially paying off the debt to the general fund for the creation of the agency. We've funded the county nuisance abatement ordinance, allocated funds for the improvements to North State Street corridor, and funding some sidewalk improvements on the South State Street. And then additionally, the board recently approved a $100,000 contribution to Lakewood Homes, a affordable housing subdivision being created by RCHDC, self-help housing. Those funds are to provide assistance to 4 very low to low income families or households. Sort of getting into the plan now, outreach was made to area residents in 2007 in the form of a door-to-door survey that was created of people living in the project area. It was considered to be a good faith effort to attempt, to contact individuals and collect additional opinions as to what some of the problems were seen as being in the area by the residents themselves. Government Financial Solutions used that information, input from staff, and some input from public during the public notice period to draft a 5-year implementation plan that you've got before you. To incorporate one comment that was made, I'd like to read a couple of changes into the plan, or regarding the plan, and for the record. The cover sheet and footers have been changed to state draft November 2008, not draft October 2008. And then in response to comments received from Lisa Hilligus, the managing attorney for Legal Services of Northern California, clarifying language was made in 2 locations. On page 4, Goal 1B now reads, seek opportunities to intermingle generations in income brackets to be inclusive of seniors and those in transitional housing. On page 7, the paragraph now reads, fund transitional and permanent housing expansions and programs. This last correction was formerly on the bottom of page 6. The 5-year implementation plan has been publicly noticed over the last 31 days. It's been physically posted in 12 different areas throughout the sub-areas, and it was made available during that time for review in the clerk of the board's office, the executive office, and at the library. The work plan is broken down into 3 categories for each year. Capital projects, mainly being public infrastructure, commercial projects, and housing projects. With regard to the housing projects, 20% of the tax increment received by the agency has to be set aside for affordable housing. The agency does have actual production requirements based on a 10-year time period for affordable housing. Although projections for revenue were conservative in light of what's happened in the financial markets and certainly of late and within the last 6 months, there is no issue or problem scaling back sort of the approach of the plan to ensure that board priorities are addressed. There's been no specific commitments made with any projects, agencies, or organizations with regard to this plan. And yes?
Could you restate that last statement?
Absolutely. There have been no specific commitments made with with regard to any projects, agencies, organizations tying into anything that's specified or spelled out in this plan.
To the clerk, could you make sure that's in the minutes, please?